Daniel Dubois is to get the victory against Oleksandr Usyk. I would rate it up there with some of the biggest upsets in recent times. You know, if they two were to meet in a dark alley somewhere, I don't think Carl's coming out the same guy. I don't know, for someone like Manny Pacquiao, I think it's a crying shame, but listen, he can't leave it alone. Each to their own.
Right, welcome back to Fight Lens in association with Sporting Talk. We're out in Milton Keynes with Mr. No Days Off, Tony the Bomber Bellew. Tony, what are we doing in MK?
You tell me. I mean, I'm here, there and everywhere, working as usual. I'm off today to shoot a show. So a quick stop in Milton Keynes and then I will be off to somewhere in Hemel Hempstead.
Okay, keeping racking up those miles.
Means I've got to stay busy.
Yeah,
Too many kids.
For sure. We saw you at Goodison Park, the last ever day of Everton's long heritage at that stadium. Yeah. Must have been an emotional day, but what an honour for you to present, you know, have all the ex-players coming onto the pitch. Yeah,
I mean, a lot of them are my friends. My biggest hero of all was Duncan Ferguson growing up.
Legend, yeah.
So yeah, having him and Wazza together, it wasn't until we started talking and realised why they got me there. Because before I was like, why do you want me to help present? Mm-hmm. And they were like, Tom, we think you're good, you know, you're one of the fans, you resonate with people and stuff. And I was like, okay, yeah. It wasn't until I was on the stage with Duncan and Wazza together that I thought to myself, they've got me here to control the uncontrollable.
You're like a bouncer slash presenter.
And it was, but listen, Duncan was amazing, was amazing.
Yeah.
All the players coming out, the ex-players, it was just an unbelievable show.
Great day. We saw Neville Southall, he was there as well. No Gazza. Gazza was watching on TV. He said Neville Southall looked like a Toby jug. A bit harsh, isn't it?
Well, that's Gazza. He's not sitting on the fence, is he?
No, he doesn't hold
he's
back.
Letting his feelings be known, but yeah, you know what, it's... I think when retirement hits people, everyone takes it differently. Some people want to get fat and old. I thought I wanted to get fat and old, and soon realised it wasn't as good as it was made out to be. No. So I had to stay in a little bit of shape. I'm not in the greatest of shape, but I'm doing okay.
Not bad at all. Darren Till, fellow Scouser, have you seen him and his war of words with Carl Froch, the Cobra?
I have seen a little bit. I haven't seen it all, I must say, but the back and forth is relentless.
It is, isn't it?
And it will come to a head. You know, I hope I'm not there when it does.
Yeah, it's heating up. It is heating up. He said if he sees him, I mean, he's not going to be held responsible for his actions. Wow. That was Darren saying that, not...
and Darren's the one to not play around with, to be fair. Darren's the one with the extreme skill set.
Exactly.
Carl has dangerous hands, that goes without saying. But Darren's skill set is a little bit more, shall we say, well-rounded to say the least.
Yeah, Carl better be quick on his toes, we reckon, if he does.
You don't want a problem with someone like Darren who can roll around with you on the floor, he can pick you up, he can slam you, he can choke you.
Yeah.
And he can throw a punch as well, so that's not nice.
Still in good physical condition. If they were to get it on in the ring though, and the boxing ring this is, not the UFC ring.
I don't think it's a fair playing field in a boxing ring, if I'm being totally honest. I mean, Carl's a former world champion.
That's true, still in great shape himself.
He is a unified champion at that. Froch was a force to be reckoned with. Yeah, so if it's in a boxing ring, I don't think that's very fair on Darren. But if it is, you know, if they two were to meet in a dark alley somewhere, I don't think Carl's coming out the same guy.
No, fair point, yeah, fair enough. Should we talk about the boxing that happened this weekend, just gone? Josh Taylor lost to Ekow, Essuman.
Yes.
You know, great performance from the underdog. He often seems to be the underdog. Josh Taylor's had an amazing career, but that's 3 losses in a row for him now.
It is. I watched the fight, to be fair, and I feel for Josh Taylor because he started the fight so well. Mm-hmm. And I don't know whether it's the move up in weight or the strength gets a hold in the second half of the fight, but I thought for someone like Josh Taylor, his greatest asset was his activity, how busy he was when he gets into fights. It's how repetitive he is, how strong he is, and especially down the stretch. And I just think the curse of inactivity, the biggest killer of all fighters, is that word inactivity. And I think it's seen Josh Taylor off, to be honest. If he's going to stay in the game, he needs to get back out as soon as possible.
Do you think COVID has kind of affected a lot of fighters like that? Because during COVID, it was so hard to kind of make fights, and obviously in front of, I think his undisputed fight was in front of 60 odd people, which is such a shame, and it wasn't even picked up by any of the British stations.
He's being overlooked massively. He's a world-class fighter, one of Scotland's finest, one of Great Britain's finest.
For sure.
But it's come for him in a time of difficulty when it comes to promoters, when it comes to broadcasters, and when it comes to title defences and how the belts fragment and stuff. It hasn't worked out well for him, but as I say, if Josh is going to carry on, which I think he will, then he's going to need to get out straight away, because I say he can't have the curse of this inactivity spreading through him again. As for Essuman, I think I'm not sure where he goes next, because I don't think he beats the world champions, but I do think he's a really good fighter.
It's kind of stuck just between those two levels, isn't he? Yeah.
Rock on a hard place.
Yeah.
He's going to be in the king of the Who Needs You club.
Yeah,
you know, none of the world champions are going to choose to face him unless he becomes mandatory. I don't think that fight made him mandatory for any of the belts.
I don't think so, no.
So it'll be interesting to see where he goes from there.
Yeah. Someone else who's at the other end of their career, Moses Itauma, as opposed to Josh Taylor. Another good performance, racking up the wins. Now he said the pressure's kind of off because he gave himself that task of beating Mike Tyson's world record to become the youngest ever world champion. So he can't do that now. But loads of options out there for him. Where would he go if you were his promoter?
The world is oyster. I just think don't go too quick too soon, because once you step past the mark, there's no going back. So for someone like Moses, I think the most important thing at this stage now is rounds. He's not getting rounds against fighters who should be giving him rounds. So you're going to have to go back to drawing board and really kind of start again when it comes to the matchmaking. I'm hearing names that are being thrown out of him, like Andy Ruiz. Now, I'm not saying he wouldn't beat Andy Ruiz now. I think he would. But ultimately, where's he going to go from Andy Ruiz win? It's straight to a world title fight, and I don't think he's ready for a 12-round world title fight just yet. But I do think he's exceptional. I do think he's the future of the heavyweight division. And I think once Usyk passes the gauntlet over or past the jog, it's his to run with.
People have been saying like his hand speed's reminiscent of Mike Tyson, but he's got the power as well. But will he bulk up a bit more?
I don't think he needs to. I think one of his greatest assets is his feet and his movement. And as you know, he's versatile. He can move about. He does things really well. I just think going forward, it's a massive thing that he needs rounds in fights. I'm sure he's getting them in the gym.
Has he ever gone past the second round? Not recently, has he? I think he did earlier in his career.
Not recently. He has done earlier in his career, but not recently. He's just blown it. He's blown everyone away. I heard about the Martin Bakole fight.
Yeah, that's a bit of a weird one. I can't see that one.
I don't know where Bakole keeps getting these shots from, because he was absolutely horrendous when he turned up looking like a sumo wrestler.
Joe Parker. I know.
And then I thought he would have learned his lesson, but against the Jagba, he was the same shape again. And I'm just like, where is this man's discipline? Where is his discipline at? Where's his head at? I don't know. He's obviously a good fighter, and the gym stories that have come from him are absolutely phenomenal. I mean, he's probably the greatest gym fighter the world's ever seen.
Top sparrer.
It's just unfortunately for him that it only matters when you get under the lights. And a couple of times he's come under the lights and had big nights. He's lost. He lost to Michael Hunter. Never forced that rematch, which I couldn't get my head around. He's lost to Joseph Parker now, and now he's got a draw with the Jaguar. So
I think someone like Jermaine Franklin maybe, or Otto Wallin could be.
Franklin gives you rounds. Otto Wallin's going to pose you a couple of headaches for a couple of rounds maybe, but I think he sees off Wallin pretty quickly.
You think?
Franklin, yes, I like the Franklin fight for him.
That could work, couldn't it?
But listen, I just think he's an exceptional talent.
Yeah.
He's going to be managed correctly. He's going to be.
That's it. Frank Warren, you don't think he's overprotecting him. You think he's picking and choosing, waiting for the right time.
It's very, very rare Frank Warren makes a mistake in matchmaking levels.
So much experience.
It's very, very rare. To be fair to Frank, he knows how to grow a fighter and grow a brand. The only thing I would say is, on Frank's behalf, is that when his fighters do take that step up, they tend to lose. Which we've seen over the years.
We saw with Dubois, didn't he? Dubois lost to Joyce, came back, rebuilt, lost to Usyk, now he's rebuilding again.
I mean, by the time Daniel Dubois is a 27-year-old veteran.
Yeah, it's true.
He's been through that much and he's experienced that much, but it'll be interesting to see if that's going to make a difference against Oleksandr Usyk. I do think he's in the fight. I do think it's a dangerous fight, but ultimately, I think it's one he'll lose. I think Oleksandr Usyk will make him revisit the place he made him visit last time. it pushed him to the brink of quitting.
Didn't
That's where it goes. And you'd have to look at it. I mean, I've said this before, and I'm not labelling Daniel Dubois a quitter. He's done it. Yes, he's done it in the past. There's no getting away from that.
Spewed it.
It's happened. You've spewed it. The first time you do it is the hardest. So it only gets easy going on. It's just that at this moment right now, he's riding the crest of a big wave. And that victory over AJ will catapult him to new heights of confidence.
Yeah.
But it's going to take about 5 or 6 rounds to drill them out of him.
Right.
And that's what I think Usyk will do.
So is he going to go in and just try and obliterate him early doors before he knows, because he knows Usyk's stamina and he knows what it'll do to him if he goes the distance or goes down the stretch. So maybe that's going to be his tactic.
You've also got to remember though, he is the... Excuse me.
Okay.
People forget this with Daniel, but he is the much younger man than Usyk. Usyk, I think he's 10 years his man.
Yeah.
So all of that the fatigue and the tired in the fight, that should all sit well with Daniel Dubois. He should not tire, considering the age gap between them. But ultimately, he doesn't have the pedigree of Oleksandr Usyk.
Or the conditioning.
And he doesn't have the mindset, and he doesn't have the mentality. And they will show themselves in the fight, I believe.
If he does get the win,
yes,
Daniel Dubois, where would it rank him though in terms of British heavyweights? Because he'll be undisputed then, wouldn't he? Yeah,
I mean, listen, if Daniel Dubois is to get the victory against Oleksandr Usyk, I would rate it up there with some of the biggest upsets in recent times.
Yeah, huge.
It is absolutely huge because Daniel Dubois has shown us no evidence of why he can beat Oleksandr Usyk.
Yeah.
You know, this man's undefeated. He's beaten everyone and anyone. He's beaten punches of the Dubois kind of quality in AJ. He's beaten people who are bigger than Dubois in the likes of Fury.
It would be a huge shock.
It would be a huge shock.
If he did, though, we might even see Tyson Fury coming out of retirement to
listen,
fight Dubois.
I'm not saying it's impossible because nothing's impossible. No. When you can punch like Daniel Dubois can punch, nothing is impossible.
No doubt.
But it's for me, it's very unlikely.
Yeah. Joseph Parker says he would welcome a trilogy fight with Derek Chisora on the undercard of Usyk Dubois 2. Do you think he's selling himself a bit short there?
I think Joseph just wants to stay busy. He's realised once again, I said this earlier before, inactivity can ruin and kill fighters. Joseph Parker is struggling from inactivity at the moment because he's been so used to fighting back to back to back.
Yeah. It's not his own fault by any means.
No, it's not a disturbance in the Bacoli fight that he was all going ahead and Bacoli jumps in, all of the disturbance of the Dubois fight.
That's right.
It's just, he's in a rock and a hard place, Joseph Parker, because he knows the shot's coming, but he also wants to stay busy and active.
Yeah.
Him probably saying he'd fight Derek Chisora, for him it's probably such a safe option.
It is, isn't it? He knows
it's a fight he knows he can win.
He can win it,
You know, he's visited it twice before, and under Andy Lee he's only getting stronger and better.
True.
So I think it's a very, very safety first fight, that one.
Yeah. Did you see Queensbury sent Matchroom a cake on the anniversary of the 5 versus 5?
I didn't
kind of
see
challenging them to say, let's get it on again, let's have another 5v5, because obviously they won the first one, didn't they? 5-0. So, yeah, I mean, if we did see it again, would it be something you'd be excited by? And what kind of matches would there be, I suppose?
It just depends on the matches, doesn't it?
Yeah,
I mean,
that's true. Last one was great, though.
Matchroom have got a wealth of talent globally, and that's the big thing that people forget to recognise. I think we're falling a bit short domestically, but I think globally we're on a whole different platform and a whole different stage.
You've got Pat Brown on the British
Pat Brown's a good fighter, but who would you match Pat Brown with from the Queensbury stable? It's a very, very difficult one considering how many bouts Pat Brown's had.
That's true, he's still very fresh, isn't he?
He's still very fresh. I mean, and now it's such a shame with what's happened with Johnny Fisher, because that would have been an ideal step for someone like Moses Itauma.
That's true, yeah.
You know, you can virtually predict how it's going to go, but you can't write someone off like Johnny. But he'll be going through a big change now. He's got to find where his head's at, where how his confidence levels are. But I wouldn't write him off either. No. I think Johnny Fisher can come back. I just think with the right game plan and the right direction in his career, he would be a force. I just think he's got to believe in himself a bit more.
Go back to the drawing board. Am I right in thinking Eddie Hearn has signed up Dave Allen now?
I believe so. I've saw him hearing, but I wouldn't know for definite. I mean, Dave Allen is someone who's, he's kind of came back. We've learned nothing new about Dave Allen. He's basically just old man Johnny Fisher. That's what he's done. He's just he's used his experience, the wealth of experience he's got, And he's dealt it viciously to Johnny Fisher, who's been extremely naive. And I think for the rematch, I hope he learns an awful lot from it, because it was like he went into the rematch without a proper game plan. You know, the game plan, when you've got a size advantage and a strength advantage that you've got like Johnny Fisher, the first thing as a heavyweight is stick him on a jab, create the distance, and make him pay every time he steps to get close.
Yeah.
And
he started off kind of doing that, though, didn't he? Like
the jab, yeah, but he started dancing around. I thought it was the second coming of Muhammad Ali. He moved that much. He's coming out at angles, and for a big man like Johnny to move so much, he was going to tire rapidly. So it was no shock when, come the end of the fourth, he was absolutely exhausted.
He was, wasn't he?
And it was the beginning of the end. I was so alarmed to see, because Mark Tibbs has got a wealth of experience behind him and his father in Jimmy. And Mark Tibbs has done really well with coaching the likes of Dillian White. I think Dillian White was undefeated in the whole time he was with Mark Tibbs. So he done a great job with Dillian. I just feel he went in with no game plan and no plan B. I just can't understand why. The jab is the most important weapon, especially in the heavyweight division. It creates distance, it creates openings, it's a defensive weapon, it can be an offensive weapon. It's so important, and for someone like Johnny, he's the bigger man, the stronger man. Implement your jab.
Yeah, longer reach as well, probably.
Of course.
He was blocking, but he wasn't really actually.
He was pandering with it.
Yeah,
he was pandering, like it was touching, and that's not going to do any good to no one. No, you've got to use it. I understand there's ways to set things up, but use this as a weapon first and foremost. Let people know this is not something I'm trying to touch you with or feel my way in with. I'm going to hit you with this, and you're going to know you've been hit.
Yeah.
And he just didn't start in that manner.
No,
It's cost him.
Never went to plan, did it? We have to rebuild now. Manny Pacquiao has announced his return to the ring, age 46.
Yep.
Another one's coming back. Can't seem to leave it alone. Maybe his career as a politician, he didn't fancy it anymore, so he's back to boxing. Well. He's got Freddie Roach back with him, though.
Okay.
So I'm not sure what you make of that.
I'm worried for him. I mean, I read an article yesterday that he was targeting Gervonta Davis' tank, and I just thought,
I saw that as well.
That's not going to end well. That's not going to end well at all, because that kid's a monster. When he's on it, he's a monster. I mean, but he's got to go to the Lamont Roach rematch first and then come out of that to the way. So I don't know, for someone like Manny Pacquiao, I think it's a crying shame, but listen, he can't leave it alone. Each to their own.
Yeah. But he's someone that's kept himself in good shape, so maybe he will actually be better than we realised he will be.
I mean, listen, there's one thing that's undefeated in the whole world, mate, and that's Father Time.
Yeah.
And I don't think Manny Pacquiao's defeating Father Time anytime soon.
No, fair point. Anthony Joshua's had an operation on his elbow, I think.
Okay.
I don't know how it's gone or if you've heard from him, but any sign of him being active again this year?
I'd like to see him back in the ring. I think he's at his best when he's fighting, once again, when he's active. I mean, them 3 fights back-to-back before the Dubois fight,
he looked good, didn't he?
He was in great shape.
Yeah.
The knockout of Francis Ngannou it shows you what you should be, what boxers should be doing to mixed martial artists in boxing rings. It'll be interesting to see what he does next. Like I say, he might feel like, I'm at a stage where I've had enough, and who could blame the boys being to the very top of the highest of the game. He's been unified heavyweight champion of the world, not once but twice. He's had setbacks, he came back from them. Is it still in him? Does he still want to push himself to the absolute limits day in, day out? I think he does. I think he's going to be a young man who's always going to be that hungry, that engaging fighter, and people are always going to love him.
He's always going to sell out stadiums, isn't he?
He's an Olympic gold medalist.
Yeah, massive,
you know, 2012 hero, and it's hard when you've been under the microscope for someone as long as he has. From 2012, we're in 2025 now. It's a long time to be under the microscope, and I only could do it for a couple of years. I don't know how he's done it for this many years, but he's done great. Whatever he chooses to do, I think the whole of the country supports him.
Yeah, for sure. We spoke to a friend of the show, George Groves, recently. He said he wants to see Tyson Fury and Francis Ngannou get it on in a cage, because they obviously did it in a boxing ring. Would you pay to see that? He says he'll pay to see it.
That would be entertaining. Would I pay to see it? Absolutely.
Yeah.
But Francis Ngannou would probably pull off anyone's arms.
Can you imagine dislocating shoulders?
Just choke them, strangle them, knock them out.
I think the only person, got some long arms to grab onto as well, wasn't he?
I think the only person he couldn't do that to is John Jones.
Yeah, well, that would,
I think that's the only man in the world that has the possibility. I'm not saying he does.
No.
But I think John Jones is the only man who has the possibility to stop Francis Ngannou in a cage.
Amazing,
I don't think anyone else has got a chance.
We've seen a lot of these kind of crossover things being mooted. We've heard Oleksandr Usyk is reportedly in preliminary talks for a potential MMA fight with Jake Paul. Now, Jake Paul and Usyk in an MMA fight.
Oh my Lord.
What's going on?
The world is going absolutely nuts.
Mad, yeah.
I think Jake Paul's just starting to realise now that he has no chance in a boxing ring against anyone who's probably a decent fighter.
Right, so he's trying to switch up codes, get Usyk in. I mean...
He's got a wrestling background behind him, someone like Jake Paul. He's probably wrestled in school, he'll be a college wrestler.
That's probably true, yeah.
So he'll have a huge advantage on the ground or getting someone down. But as for Usyk fighting Jake Paul in the cage, I can't see that anytime soon.
That'd be mental. Another one, Eddie Hall, world's strongest man, Eddie Hall, says he wants to fight Conor McGregor in a cage. It's a 12 stone weight difference there.
Jesus
I mean,
Christ,
Eddie Hall knocked out Mariusz Pudzianowski. 30. You see that? 30 seconds, like two of the strongest.
I haven't seen it, but I know Mariusz Pudzianowski is obviously the world's strongest man. How many times over turned into some kind of cage fighter?
That's it. Yeah.
Basically, just a huge ball of muscle who's never going to be set up to last more than a minute in a boxing ring.
Stamina-wise.
Eddie Hall looks like an extremely strong man.
Yeah, deadlifted 500 kg, didn't he?
Madness, but
intense guy.
like I said, it's one thing being strong, it's another thing being manoeuvred around the ring and then actually getting hit back by someone who can punch correctly.
That's true. Back to real boxing. Fabio Wardley's in action this weekend, not against Jarrell Miller as he was supposed to be, because once again he's failed another drug test. Well, I think we don't know for a fact, do we? Well, I think he's just withdrawn from the fight, but no one knows exactly why. But I think
heard injury at first, but obviously,
really?
I don't know if that's true or not. I have no idea. But
we'll have to check our facts on this one.
Okay.
But he's fighting Justice Honey instead of Romanian.
Probably a better replacement when it comes to actual quality of opponents. Because for as good as Jarrell, well, I don't want to say for as good as Jarrell Miller is, he's not very good. But he's a big, heavy mattress with arms. Yeah, he absorbs absolutely everything. I mean, I thought Daniel Dubois done great in getting rid of him, stopping him the way he did. Yeah. But he's just a big, durable fighter. He's not very good. Doesn't punch very hard. You know, you're always going to get rounds. I think for someone like Fabio, the hardest thing for him was shutting Jarrell Miller's mouth. Yeah. With this Justice Honey, I think he's got pedigree, amateur pedigree that Fabio doesn't have. So he's straight away, he's on the back foot. Yeah. I think this is a really hard fight for Fabio. I think Fabio's power might be the difference. Yeah, we saw what his power can do, didn't we? I mean, Justice Honey better stay out of the way of that right hook. Listen, the shot that he hits Fraser Clark with, it's a devastating punch. Brutal, and Fabio Wardley, people don't realise this, is only going to get better. He's only going to go from strength to strength. The experience that he's gaining fight by fight is immense. And I say he's a force to be reckoned with. I rate Fabio Wardley highly. Yeah, hopefully he gets another win under his belt and then he can move on maybe up to the world level and see where he goes from there. We'll see. Like I said, for someone like Fabio, this is a proper fight where it lets you know about the levels where he's going. Is he going to get there? Is he going to be good enough? I'd like to see him go a few rounds in this fight, which I think he will. But as I said, time will tell. Honey's he's got calibre, he's got pedigree. Yeah, and I think he'll be able to. It's just, can he ride the storm? If he can, then that calibre and that pedigree, that can show later on in fights. It's just, can you ride out them first 4, 5, 6 rounds? Yeah. Because that's where Fabio's going to come. He's going to land heavy hooks, big shots over the top. Yeah. We just don't know what Justice Honey's got yet because he hasn't been tested at this level. We don't know anything really about him on a professional basis. We do know as an amateur he had pedigree, but in 2 different sports. So we will find out. You know, both have got questions to answer. It's kind of following in your footsteps, isn't he? Fighting at Portman Road, home stadium, like you did at Goodison. So hopefully you can get the win. Ipswich Town's a big football club. Yeah, massive. Back in the Premier League this season, so they've had an awful lot to be happy about. Back in the Championship now, but they've had, you know, they had some decent results last season. And they are a big club, ultimately. Fabio taking boxing back there makes it even bigger again. It actually adds to the club. No doubt. So it'll be interesting to see how it pans out on the night. In terms of you and your kind of post-boxing career now, have you got the bug for presenting television-wise after we did at Goodison Park? Would you like to go into more of that? I can present, I can do I'm always... Multifaceted man. I can adapt. Yeah. I can always adapt. If you put me in a situation, I'll figure it out. Yeah. So it's something that, did I envision? No. Is it something I've done before? Yeah, it's not my first rodeo. So I can do a number of things. I seem to get on well with 99% of people.
Yeah.
Just that 1% on Twitter that doesn't like me, but who cares about that?
Who cares? Yeah, yeah. It's always going to be them out there.
So yeah, I'm working. I'm always working. And I'm always trying to improve myself, better myself, and always trying to, you know, give myself a different outlay on things. You know, if I can earn potential in different places and all different parts, it's a good thing to have.
What about traitors? If there was the celebrity traitors, would you be interested in that?
I think they've been to my agent for that already, but I haven't really watched much of it.
Okay.
So I don't know the format of the show. I don't know how it
It's
works.
quite addictive.
Really.
It's good. Yeah, it's basically like 2 or 3 traitors within a whole group of people, and they have to try and figure out who they are. But the traitors obviously kind of like sending out different messages, trying to baffle everyone. It's good. Give it a watch.
That's something I'll have to give a watch to.
Yeah. All right, I think that wraps up nicely for today, and we'll be back next month. Stay tuned. Like, subscribe, comment. Tony Bellew, thank you once again.
Always a pleasure, guys. Thanks for having me.